gnomes. Since the release of Vanilla WoW, scientists from all around the world have been trying to crack the code of why someone would want to play as a gnome. They're short, they're ugly, they smell bad. What's there to love? It's fascinating, but in a really disgusting kind of way. If you didn't see though, recently a study came out from Yale University that stated that gnome players are individuals who have a strange obsession with eating nachos and drinking Dr. Pepper, according to their surveys. And also there was a small footnote that said gnomes like to be played by people who really love being the center of attention and having the biggest voice in the Discord chat, as ironic as that sounds.
Reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats, and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 293. I'm Chris and I am joined as always by the ever so affable, ever so amazing, ever so cool dude. Hey Bill, how's it going?
Hi Chris, I've got just the most amazing case of the Mondays right now and I can't wait to start talking some MMOs.
Yes, we've got lots to talk about too, including a follow-up from last week's discussion about Ashes of Creation and Wild West Online, as well as some great news for all you LOTRO players out there, and some absolutely fantastic news for you WoW players who like to grind your in-game gold. But before we get to any of that, I want to remind our chat room, as you're in there, to drop into chat what you've been doing in the past week. And we'll mention it at the end of this segment. But before we get to that, Bill, what have you been doing in games?
Well, going to start off with the kind of standards here. We've been playing World of Warcraft, and last week was, I think we attempted to make it alt week to start off with, but then we found we couldn't really do we couldn't do the time travel dungeons? Because we couldn't get a group because nobody would heal or tank or do anything useful.
Right.
That's right.
Because we tried to get in as 3 DPS and that didn't work right. That didn't work well at all.
What did we learn?
Don't try to queue as 3 DPS.
Someone has to tank and someone has to heal.
Someone has to heal, yeah.
So, anyway. So, anyway, that was fun. It was nice to shake things up a little bit, at least for a little while. And who knows, maybe we'll do a little bit of alting again in the future. I have also been picking away at Guild Wars 2. I've actually started to play a little bit in the Edge of the Mists, and I'm working on actually my Kuta-file achievement in Guild Wars 2. You get a mastery point, like an old world mastery point, for collecting something like 28 different spoons in the game. Really? And one of them only drops off of certain mobs, like PvP NPCs.
Seems like a really specific achievement.
It is.
Like, super specific.
Spoons are funny, and it's a great achievement to get, but it's a very rare drop-off of bosses that are kind of hard to get to, especially if the other realms aren't being cooperative. So,
yeah.
So I've been doing that, and I was playing an Elementalist for a while. I thought I'd alt up and be an elementalist and try that, and I ran out of gas on it, and I bounced back to my thief, and
Yeah.
it's good. My thief is good. Thief is the good class to play. I love the bouncing around, especially as an Azura, and I understand.
And are you staff as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
of course.
So I don't get the stealthiness or anything of the stealth attacks as much, but
Yeah.
the bouncing around, the extra dodge, if you like moving around and being that hard to hit target, then a thief is your Guild Wars 2 class to play.
Oh, cool.
And then the denouement, if you will, of my gaming week was to log in and fulfill my promise and play Fishing Planet, which I did, and I caught fish. And I know you're waiting for me to say that it was terrible and stupid and a completely hacked together experience that no one would ever want to do on purpose, but I'm not going to say that because it was cool. It was pretty, so you would like it, Chris. And it had fish, and it was just it would be a fine little game to fire up if you want to play something while you're watching a movie or watching a bunch of YouTube videos or something like that. It's a good companion for that. Or if you're playing an MMO and you want another MMO on the side, it's perfect for that too. It's just a good little game. It's not going to be a AAA MMO. It's not going to be anyone's main game or anything like that. But if you even like, if you like fishing even a little bit, and as long as you're not expecting a true, perfect replication of an actual fishing experience, it's good. So my little review is try Fishing Planet. It's free and it's worth the price.
Okay, I'm going to paraphrase a common saying here: "Stream or it didn't happen."
Ouch.
I want to see you play in this game that you're so excited about. So, we'll plan it. We'll get you a stream here in the next little while.
See, the thing is, Chris, whether I stream it or whether I take a screenshot of it and put it up on the screen, it's probably going to be about the same.
That's kind of pathetic.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'll put together a little bit of video of it, and we can do something.
All right. As for me, I'm going to start and talk a little bit about my experiences in The Elder Scrolls Online and my experience with the Morrowind. They are calling it an expansion officially, and I'll talk about that in a second about why they're doing that. But I had a few streams about that. And I also decided, since the one Tamriel expansion and there are no levels, you can go anywhere at any time and do anything. So I started this new expansion with a brand new character. I took my Warden and I started right into Morrowind. And I'm working through Vardenfell. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm going Animal Companion as my line for the Warden. Warden is kind of a nature magic based thing. So my particular way that I'm going is Animal Companion. So I summon Animal Companions. I just got my bear, so I have a bear pet that I can have all the time. The rest of my summoning, though, is like a specific spell where birds will dive bomb an enemy to damage it and stuff like that. It's not that I will travel around with multitudes of pets around me all the time. Mm-hmm. And so the Warden itself, I still don't feel like I've played it enough to have a very detailed experience with it, but I think I've played it enough to know that I'm enjoying it, what I've done so far. I've played around with two-handed weapons, so big swords is my weapon, and bow, or with destruction staffs. And I think I'm going to go with destruction staff, because that'll allow me to do a magicka build, which most of the abilities in the animal tree, the Animal Companion skill tree it's not even a skill tree, but the skill line require magicka. Only one of them has a stamina base to it, so which the bow and the two-handed weapon would both have. So I'm going to be a Magedon. And that's the thing in ESO, you make names for your subclass or your way of playing your character, right? So there's like the Stam Blade, which is a stamina-based Night Blade, right? Mm-hmm. So anyways, so Warden, fun so far. I'll try and get through all of Morrowind before I give a final thought on that. I have been flying through the content in Morrowind, though. I'm probably a quarter of the way, if not over a quarter of the way, done the entire landmass in maybe 4 hours of gameplay. And so it's flying by. I don't know if the rest of the landmass is as dense or less dense. So maybe the last quarter of the landmass takes me 3 times what every other chunk of it took, right? Like, you know how sometimes there's areas that are a lot of landmass but not a lot of quests there to do? Maybe that's just the area I'm in now, or maybe it's equal throughout the whole zone. We'll have to wait and see the whole thing. I don't know. I've really done my best to ignore other people's reviews or thoughts on the expansion until I'm done my own expansion. So I don't think I'm having enough fun yet that I can just outright say, yep, spend the money. Go and spend the $40 or whatever that the cheapest pack to buy this is, or $39 or whatever it ends up being. I don't think I'm at the point where I can say just go out and get it now. It's tons of fun. If you're already playing ESO and you want more content, yeah, you know what? There's more content here for sure, and it's fun content and good stories and stuff like that. But if you are doing okay and you're wondering if this is worth it, I'm not sure yet. I don't know. It's fun, but I haven't finished it yet.
There's nothing in the bonuses like the Dwarven War Dog or the treasure maps or anything like that that go along with buying it right now that make that compelling.
The one thing is you get a crate. So they have these ESO crates, which are loot boxes basically that you can buy and you can get stuff. Tons of games do loot boxes.
Yeah.
And I got crap. Like, probably the worst thing you can possibly get.
Oh.
I got, like, lock picks and a couple of potions. Right? Like, ooh. There is a mount that's available through that, though, and I've seen pictures of people getting the mount for that, which is a really cool mount.
Oh, but to get it through a loot box, that's just
right.
Gross.
Exactly. So there's that. The other the horse looks nice, but it's a horse, right? They got you a nice armored horse. It's super, and you know how I am about mounts. But I think ESO is probably my least favorite mount system in any game. It's just, they're bland. All of them are just super duper bland. All of the mounts. So, oh well. And none of the other pre-order bonuses I've really felt. I've got a leveling scroll that I could use, but with one Tamriel, why? Why do I need to get extra? I guess I'd get my skills faster, but I'm doing fine. I don't need to level any faster. I'm enjoying myself. So yeah, I at this point, it's still unsure. Do I think anybody would feel bad spending the money? No. But I'm not sure if it's a go out and get it right now sort of thing yet. But I'm enjoying it. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the other thing I wanted to mention real quick was a little chunk, because we played WoW as well. I grabbed, I don't know if you remember the conversation that we had in WoW just a little while back in the stream a couple weeks ago, where we were talking sort of about the current state of WoW with you and me and Darren. So I grabbed that chunk and I threw it on YouTube, and love to hear our viewers and our listeners' comments on their thoughts, if they play WoW, their current thoughts on what WoW is like right now for them. So if people want to check it out, I'll have a link in the show notes for that, and would love to hear what other people's experiences are right now in WoW, if they feel the same way that we do, or if they are loving it, or if they left a while back because they just felt like they'd done everything. So just wanted to mention that there. Thank you to all of our wonderful, fantastic, super awesome, super duper patrons over at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. You are the ones who keep the lights on for the network. So go and check that out if you like what we do. If you want to support what we do, then go check out patreon.com/MMO Reporter to support the shows.
Only knew how
So, big news in the Destiny 2 front, and we're going to have a lot of people listening to the show that say, Destiny 2, what in the dirty hell is that? It's not a game that's ever been on PC before, so I don't expect many of you to actually know what it is, but it's the sequel to a dirty console exclusive that came out, what was it, about 3 years ago now, Chris? 4 years ago?
Yeah, about three years ago, I think.
Anyway, it's they announced a while ago that it's coming to PC, which is cool. That was a good decision. We talked about that on the show actually before. But the big news, and this is kind of what really busted the doors open for me on the story, is that Destiny's going to be releasing its game through Battle.net, as in Blizzard is basically acting as the PC publisher for Destiny 2. Now, this actually opens up a bunch of ramifications. First, it's the first non-Blizzard game that Blizzard has actually put into Battle.net. Certainly the biggest, probably the biggest that's going to ever be coming. There is a little bit of relationship because Activision is the publisher for the game for consoles, so there's that relationship already between Blizzard and Activision. But, of course, because Activision... Do they still own Blizzard, or do they just own a piece of Blizzard? Or
No,
anyway.
it's Activision Blizzard. Right?
Okay. So there's... The relationship is there, but this is... Yeah, like I said, this is the first time that Blizzard has kind of gone out of their own sphere and let somebody else release something under their banner, which is cool. But the other thing is, this and... we'll put them both out there and then we'll have the discussion, Chris. But what this opens up is that Battle.net has been giving people the ability to earn account money through gameplay, specifically through World of Warcraft. You can actually when you buy your World of Warcraft token, you have the option to actually take the value of the token, or the dollar value of the token, which is $15 US and translates to similar amounts worldwide in local currencies, and put that onto the balance of your account. Actual cash money sitting in your Blizzard bank account, essentially. So where I'm going with this is essentially Blizzard is going to be able to sell a game that they didn't make through their distribution platform using money that doesn't actually exist, that it was because it was only bought with fake currency in World of Warcraft.
Well, no, somebody paid money for that token to
You're right,
$20 to begin with, so it does start with real money.
You're right. So there is a real money piece of it, but I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be some heavy-duty World of Warcraft players out there, probably myself included. That's basically my main goal in World of Warcraft right now, is to pump up my Blizzard account balance and have enough to be able to buy Destiny 2 when it comes out.
Now,
because why not? I mean, I've been interested in the game, and I would love to get it for not actual dollars and cents from my wallet.
My goal is to be able to buy, if they have it through the Blizzard store, which I hope they do, I want to get the physical collector's edition with my Battle.net balance. So that's my goal.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see which one of us, or if both of us, or if none of us succeed in our goal. I have a feeling you'll succeed and I won't. But
so
we're trying.
First things first.
The other thing
let's get the discussion going here first. So first things first. Blizzard stepping out of their realm of games by including Destiny 2 under Battle.net. What do you think?
I don't know if this is a first foray into publishing or if this will be a one-off. I really can't tell. It could easily just happen to be a one-off because the other part of the equation to keep in mind is that Bungie will be using the Battle.net login and chat servers and social features in Destiny 2. So if I'm playing Destiny 2 and you're playing WoW, we'll be able to chat back and forth in-game, plan which game we'll jump to together, and then join in together, which probably tells me you're going to be able to join strikes same ways that you can join friends when they queue and stuff like that in WoW. That social feature of it is a huge piece of it, I think. A huge piece of it. Because it's a very successful and well-designed and stable social platform that Battle.net is built on.
Yeah, and that's just to the first point that you made too, that about Blizzard potentially becoming a distribution platform. I've seen a few chats actually going around talking about this Blizzard kind of starting to play in Steam's playground and live in there. I can't see Blizzard actually trying to be a Steam competitor. Steam is a little bit more driven by having absolutely everything under its platform. Steam will publish anything if you're willing to meet their terms, and they're quite happy to do that. If it's anything, I could almost see this being more of like a really rub it in the face of Uplay, to say, basically saying Ubisoft, okay, this is how terrible you are. We've been doing it right all along, and now we're even getting other publishers under our roof, and you still suck.
Yeah, Uplay, and is there a EA one as well?
Apparently
starts with a D, doesn't it? I can't remember off the top of my head.
You need it for the Old Republic, and I should know this, but I don't, and I'm going to go to sleep sad tonight. Anyway, that's kind of where I see it going, is to really kind of leapfrog and automatically put them second place in terms of like the game distribution platform.
Origin is what it's called for
Origin.
EA.
There you go. Thank you. So
there we go.
That's where the context that I see it in, because I could see Blizzard being exceptionally picky about. I mean, maybe Destiny 2 is the only one they do. You might be absolutely right that this is a one-off, or maybe they snipe other Activision premium titles that go in there. So the only things that ever wind up in Battle.net are basically the top 10 games ever. I mean, that's kind of Blizzard's MO already anyway, with having every game in Battle.net right now makes millions and millions of sales. So
yes,
that might be the rep that they go for, whereas Origin is a home of any piece of crap that EA comes out with. Uplay is just crap. Steam is everything.
Tell us how you really feel, Bill.
Including all the indie stuff, like Steam. I still have I still love Steam as being it for what it is, with being a great indie distribution point, a great launching off point for people. Probably still the most well known jumping off point for indie games out there, or at least as far as being able to get their games out there. And you've got your good old games platforms and everything like that. But I think I could really see Blizzard getting right into the very top of that discussion with Steam, but offering a different class of service or a different class of game. Blizzard's own little thing. But the second thing is, now what do you think about the economy of using basically in-game currency to translate into real money through a player transaction, or a player-driven transactional economy?
I think that it is going to be a tiny, minuscule percentage of players who are able to purchase their Bungie or their Destiny 2 game with their Battle.net balance. I think that lots of people will try. Lots of people are like, totally, that's what I'll do. Yeah, like, that's it. That's what I'll do. And then, like me, most people will fail to reach enough gold, because it will take a bit of a grind to get that much, right? If you're doing 15, it's 100,000. So then, then you've got to get, let's say it's $100. You're going to have to get a ton of tokens. That's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of gold. Those people sitting on several million gold, however, who have been playing since launch, are golden.
No pun intended, of course.
Yeah.
But you're probably correct. But what about the microtransaction economy that comes out of this? Because that Destiny is going to have some kind of loot box economy. There's going to be some kit that you can buy through the in-game store or through the Battle.net store that's going to be driven by that Blizzard balance, probably.
Well, there's no confirmation about that. The question is very specific in the FAQ. Does this mean I'll be able to use my Blizzard balance to purchase Destiny 2? It does not talk about microtransactions. So
fair enough. Yeah.
Could be. Most likely will be, not guaranteed to be. That makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, to me, this is big news. Like, this is it's the 800-pound gorilla shifting its weight slightly, so everyone's going to notice.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a really cool thing to see how this works out, because the way in which you can earn your subscription, because WoW is still a subscription-based game, the way you can earn it through in-game gold is something, while not absolutely unique, not the norm in the industry. And now to expand that to the Battle.net balance, where you can buy Overwatch, like when it was on sale a little bit ago, we saw a spike in WoW token costs in game because people were grinding out buying tokens and buying Overwatch, or at the very least using that surplus of gold that they had. Oh yeah, you know what? I can. That's $30 is going to be like 400,000 gold. For some people, that's nothing, right? So yeah, of course they're going to buy tokens and get that. Why wouldn't they? So it's definitely a change to the industry, and I'm really excited to see how this is going to work out. Because again, it's not no money. It's just a transfer of money from people who want to have more gold in game to the people who want to use in-game gold for stuff other than in-game. And you get $5 magically disappears into the profits of WoW's pockets, of Blizzard's pockets. Anyways, so there you go. That's my thoughts. All right, cool. Shall we move things along, Bill?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to follow up on the story that we talked about last week with Ashes of Creation and their Kickstarter, which has now officially become the biggest game Kickstarter ever on Kickstarter. I believe there's still some time left to go in the Kickstarter, and they've more than met their goal. In fact, I believe it's multiples. It's exponentially bigger than what they were hoping
had a
for.
$750,000 goal, and I think the last count I saw was like 2.3 million through the Kickstarter.
2.747 million.
There you go.
They have 15,866 backers, and they are 388% backed. So that's kind of cool. So a couple of things that we wanted to talk about here with this particular game. First of all, this is coming from a story over on PC Gamer by Steven Mesner. And actually, I think this is a fantastic piece of game journalism here that asks some questions. It sometimes gives some answers. It never, I don't think it ever kind of accuses too much, but it does say, hey, keep an eye out for this, look at this, this kind of raises some flags. It never says this is definitely a fraud or anything like that, but it definitely asks some great questions. First of all, there's kind of three parts to this. First of all is the referral program that came out when the game went to Kickstarter and beforehand. And the way that it worked was that people whose referral code was used would get 15% of whatever a person spent as money, and it would be paid out quarterly once the game launched, I believe, is what the terms of that agreement were. So it was able to be used when the Kickstarter launched with that Kickstarter. And so people could use the referral code, which is kind of funky to me. So once Kickstarter saw that they were doing this, they actually contacted the studio and said that they could not do this. So that has been removed. You can no longer use the referral program for the Kickstarter. I don't know if that nullifies any purchases that were made before this was stopped or not. And they also had a video and some promotion showing how much money YouTubers could make through the referral program. Like really pushing that referral program. So first of all, that's not quite multi-level marketing, right? It's not quite a pyramid scheme or anything like that, but it kind of has that flavor to it a little bit, it just feels a little bit multi-level marketing-ish to me.
It's anything that gets into the whole referral game,
Right.
where you're getting people to do your marketing for you, like overtly on a 1-to-1 level, like market my game for me, here's your reward.
Yeah.
It smells bad, and I
Right.
mean, in theory, it shouldn't. Word of mouth is a great marketing tool. Anyone who knows who does marketing will probably tell you that the stickiest kind of marketing that you can do is having your friends or having a person's friends sell for a company. Like they give, if I can convince you to buy it's going to be, you're going to accept my recommendation to buy mouse X sooner than you will accept random internet ads recommendation to buy mouse X.
Right. Yeah.
So
Correct.
it's an important level of marketing. But
Right. It's made a little bit more smelly, for lack of a better term, by the fact that Stephen Sharif, the creative director and founder of Intrepid Studios, started his fortune, started his money through multi-level marketing. And that's how he started making it. And then he continued on to have other business deals, including real estates and investments. But that's where he started. And I believe it was nutritional drinks that he started with, which adds another layer of ickiness to the way the referral program was going. Now, a lot of other games or a lot of other systems, heck, we use referral programs, right, to help make some money on what we do in our streams through Restream and stuff like that. And we get a kickback for that as well. But it seems like that was a big part of their hype machine. Right? It hit its goal in the first day. The Kickstarter reached its goal in the first day, which is not very common. So when you've got people who are financially invested in the success of a game, then they are more likely to push it. And popular YouTubers, I'm not going to name any names whatsoever or even hint at anything, but there are some YouTubers who made, at least one, who made over $10,000 through the referral program and the Kickstarter.
You see, and I think that's the difference between saying, for example, if we have a referral through Doghouse Systems, for example, it's just giving away a significant amount of money to try to fundraise. Because that's the other thing. I think because I still see Kickstarter, instead of being a merchant system where you buy product X, it's still a fundraising system.
Correct.
And you have to look at it like that, because so many Kickstarters do not stick, especially for games. Just because a Kickstarter is funded does not guarantee that a game is going to be made. It does not guarantee that the game is going to be good. It doesn't even guarantee that it's going to be close to what they promised that they would make.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's to throw a referral system into a fundraiser feels dirty.
Right.
It would be kind of like paying. It'd be like a charity paying somebody else to fundraise for the charity, I guess.
Yeah.
Or like a nonprofit paying somebody to fundraise. Are you really a nonprofit now?
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe I'm misinterpreting. It could very well be very, very clear that yes, that's still a nonprofit. Yes, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this.
Yeah,
that's fine. I'd be happy to have that discussion with somebody, but it's the vibe. The vibe,
right,
because of basically where the initial money has come from, the very clear multi-level marketing history, even if it is the deep history, and that's not how Stephen Sharif made his actual money or his actual fortune, that is allowing him to fund most of this game's creation. Because let's be real, for what Ashes of Creation is putting out there, $2.3 million is going to be a drop in the bucket. That's not what's going to drive this game to completion. That's going to be kind of the icing on the cake.
Yeah, and a couple of other things to think about. First of all, Sharif is fully funding the studio himself through his own wealth. And he has personally promised to return all pledges if the game doesn't launch, which I have to say that is completely a trust thing because that's an unenforceable promise. There's no way that anyone could go after him legally and get their money back, or go through Kickstarter and get their money back if the game doesn't launch.
I was gonna say, because that and $5 will get you a venti at Starbucks, right?
Correct. Yeah. So that all that put together with the incredibly lofty tech goals, similar to what EverQuest Next promised, adds just another layer of red flags to this. That being said, another super successful Kickstarter, Crowfall, is chugging along, is a game that I'm in every few weeks, is still doing very, very well and continuing on towards launch. In fact, they're actually, we're going to talk about it a little later, they're looking at a soft launch later this year. So, just because there are some there weren't these red flags, though, around Crowfall, I don't think. And although there are these issues and these questions that are raised, I still don't feel like this is a scam. I don't think that Stephen Sharif is looking to take money from people to increase his fortune. I believe he is hoping to make a great game and maybe make some money out of it on the side. I don't think this will be his main source of his income, probably just the interest from his wealth. So I don't think this is a scam. But with anything with Kickstarter, you have to look for these questions. You have to ask all the questions, and you have to put your money forward, understanding that nothing is promised.
Yep.
Here's my little rant. I'll get off my soapbox now.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game to buy when it gets made. I don't know that I get on it before we actually have a product to see.
Yeah, and if you're curious about this, we'll throw a link to the last show 292. Actually, if you go to YouTube, I added timestamps, so you'll be able to see at what point we talk about it, so you can see and jump right to that discussion right there. Okay, let's move on to our sponsors. First of all, Audible. Go to audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter to check out the fantastic audiobooks that Audible has. They are wonderful, absolutely fantastic audiobook provider, so you want to go and check them out. Not only that, Doghouse Systems. Use the coupon code MMO Reporter at Doghouse Systems to get a free SSD with your purchase. So just using the coupon code MMO Reporter and you'll get an SSD with your purchase. So go and check that out at doghousesystems.com and you will help to keep the lights on here at MMO Reporter.
Yells out of mana. Pull that world boss out a party. Run through trash, you'll be sorry. Take a bio break without announcing. They may not rhyme, but they're quite possibly the dumbest ways to die. Dumbest ways to die. Dumbest ways to die. So many dumb ways to die.
So, before we jump into the Lord of the Rings Online news this week, Chris, I wanted to throw to you, just because I don't think it's ever been made really clear in any of our podcasts previously, what's your... You have a favorite instrument, don't you?
French horns! French horns are so awesome. Absolutely so awesome. And you know what absolutely amazing song in Lord of the Rings Online uses a ton of French horns? Are you ready for it, Bill? Are you ready for it, Bill? It is none other than LOTRO Legacy. Oh my god. Listen to those horns. Oh.
How you doing there, Chris? Do you need a moment?
That's so good. That's so good, and it brings back so much nostalgia from the original game, and then brings in that punch, that French horns always play the hero line. That is the thing that, as a musician, as a conductor, as a teacher, I know and I hear all the time. French horns get all the hero lines. When you have your hero bursting to the scene, it's either trumpets or usually French horns.
Yes.
I'm done. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you really done?
No.
Sure you don't have a little bit left?
No, and you know who uses French horns really, really well in his compositions? None
Tell me.
other than the amazing, fantastic, wonderful Chance Thomas. Bill, there's something about Chance Thomas that you want to share with the world, don't you?
I kind of do, yeah. So Lord of the Rings Online has been
I'm excited.
doing
I'm
a bunch of
excited.
streams on their using their Facebook
Yep.
channel and their forums and everything like that, kind of prompting the 10-year anniversary and all that kind of fun stuff. But they've been kind of teasing towards a big reveal that's going to be coming up, quote unquote, soon.
Big reveal.
Last week they said that they're going to have a session or a stream session with Chance Thomas that's going to have a big announcement, and everybody wondered what that could possibly be. There's no way you could ever guess. There's no information
No, Bill,
there to give you
everybody
any
knew.
idea.
Everybody knew.
It's just
No
not
one
enough
was
information.
surprised.
The guy who done the orchestral composition for previous expansions of Lord of the Rings Online, when Lord of the Rings Online has their ultimate expansion coming up into the lands of Mordor, I can't possibly imagine what Chance Thomas could possibly have to do with that. Do you, Chris?
He's writing the score. He's composing the music.
No.
Freaking amazing.
No, you're kidding. Yes, that's exactly it. So this is really exciting too, because you can tell there were expansions. Like if you played Lord of the Rings Online all the way through, and you played you can tell which ones had Chance Thomas doing the orchestral score and which ones were kind of not.
Well, and here's the thing. The compositions were absolutely really, really, really well done for Isengard and for all the other content. But the difference was the use of a real orchestra for the base game, for Mordor, for Rohan, and now for Mordor. There's just something that is noticeable. Just a depth of sound and a warmth to the sound that a MIDI orchestra can't get. And they did fantastic, but it was a MIDI orchestra.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
now we're going to get a real orchestra.
I've always felt there's no bad music in Lord of the Rings Online, but there is great music. And that's where you really pick out the difference, I find.
So, I mean, I have a little bit of a personal connection. I was able to go down to Salt Lake City and watch the recording of the Riders of Rohan soundtrack, and that was one of the best experiences in my work covering games ever that I've ever had. So I'm really excited that they're going to be doing this again, because I know it's going to be a great addition to Mordor. Mordor. I can't say enough. I can't say enough. I can't say enough about Chance. I can't say enough about his music. It's just amazing. What are you excited about?
Oh, I am. I don't think I'm quite at the level you are but I am excited to see what Chance will come up with this, because it does. Especially the first time you're hearing it, and the first time you're entering a landscape, like you could tell from the interviews that he's done and the music that he's done before, he does have a very clear vision of what he thinks each of these pieces of the world represent in Middle-earth. And whether that's your vision or not, you always get a very clear picture of what his vision is. And really, what more can you possibly ask for? So I'm really curious to see what his vision is, because he's talked about it in the interview as like he sees, obviously Mordor is a very dark and scary place, but one that's also got some beauty to it. And there's just pieces, like there's nuggets of peace and beauty in Mordor that are overwhelmed by industry and kind of that volcanic, hateful badness of Mordor.
And what I do find, and okay, this, having been in the room when he was recording with the most time we spent with the fiddle player who was playing all those wonderful lines that you hear soar over the orchestra, the solo lines in LOTRO Legacy, all that stuff, the way in which he was describing the sound that he wanted the fiddle player to get, and the way in which he used different instruments and different techniques to alter the soundscape. He is really, really good at creating absolutely fantastic tonal images in our minds to go along with what we're seeing in game. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and chat room wants Shelob mounts. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But we're gonna get goats and horses, so just so you know. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I can't say enough nice stuff about Chance. I can't say enough nice stuff about his music, and just it's gonna be a fantastic soundtrack. I'm looking forward. That's still a playlist that I've got that I listen to regularly. So
yep.
The Riders of Rohan soundtrack. So yeah, that's my favorite. I don't know. There's just something about it. The I don't know. It's just really great. Okay, I'm done gushing now. Did I embarrass myself, chat room? Because I feel like I embarrassed myself a little bit.
Your French horn is showing.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So. Anyways, I'm excited.
Oh, and to tail it off as well too, they finished that stream with apparently an even bigger music announcement coming next week, which is this.
Oh,
week,
really?
Which, yeah, if you watch right to the very end of the stream, they mention that. So I don't know if they were just being funny or if there actually is another announcement that should be landing basically any second now.
That's exciting. That's exciting. Okay, shall we move things along then?
Yes.
Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is Crowfall and how it has outlined its discipline system. Disciplines are basically going to be the way in which they're going to allow for multi-classing. So disciplines are meant to give a different flavor through archetypes. So you've got your archetypes, which are your classes, and then you've got the disciplines, which modify things in a certain way. These disciplines are going to be inventory items that you equip to your character. They're used to grant power, stats, and access to new kinds of weapons, or unlock new equipment slots, grant passive, and even open up whole new power trays. So it works through power trays similar to what Guild Wars 2 does with its weapons. Discipline that you make the rune stores through the rune crafting system, and different rune stores can only be equipped once. So if you use a new runestone, if you want to switch what your discipline is, it will overwrite what's there and destroy it. Kind of like what gems had with WoW, right? So you couldn't unsocket a gem. You'd have to destroy the gem that was in there. And some other games do stuff like that. So they're going to have different quality levels as well, like you do with gear. And of course, the higher the quality level, the better the increase in the boosts and stuff like that. So there's 3 categories of disciplines. Weapon, so you're going to specialize in specific weapons. You get bonuses to that weapon. You do not, according to the text that was there, you don't get any minuses to other weapons. So it's not like you're really great at mace but crappy at swords. You're just really great at mace and normal at swords. Major ones are going to be themed subclasses. For example, the Bard or the Arcane Archer or the Friar. And last but not least, minor ones. So they're going to be based on a specific power or idea. So for example, glass cannon would be one of those, right, where you are increased damage but reduced armor. And then executioner, you get for, I forget for which class, but you get increased execute ability damage. So it allows you to specialize for those sorts of things and and just their little minor changes, right? They're not a whole subclass sort of thing. It's not going to open up a power tray. They're gonna give you bonuses or negatives or stuff like that. So
I love the description they had for the glass cannon in the article.
yeah, so
Makes no sense at all.
Yeah,
You think about it. A glass cannon is just about the stupidest thing you could ever really make.
not really. If
it's
you
up
are
there with like a paper cannon or a Jello cannon, or
okay, yes,
you
I
know,
get what you're saying.
same level of stupidity.
yeah. So I am really excited about the themed subclasses, which you'll be able to do things like the Bard, which is really exciting for me. So you can pick your major archetype. So you could be the video I'm showing right now is like a Confessor, and that's you're basically a fire magic user. And then, but the Bard is your main part that you use, and you've got these different songs that you could use and stuff like that. So it's it can really take over what your class, the way you play, is like. So I don't know. I'm incredibly excited by this. It allows for more customizability, more specific play styles, more ways to customize your character in a way that works best for you. And what I like about the more choices that you have is that it reduces the amount of perfect builds, right? So if you have all these different ways that you can play, there's going to be not the one way that everybody plays. There's going to be a whole bunch of different ways to play, right?
Yep. And they actually added this too. Like it does, a first blush to me, makes it seem a little bit like it could be a bit of a balanced nightmare, because it just throws this cog into all the different archetypes that could just completely wail unbalanced, because there's already a fair amount of customizability and variance between the different archetypes. This could really just be a total wrench in that. But they're actually looking at this as another method for balance. Like they can actually reduce the number of discipline slots or give extra discipline slots to a class that maybe needs a bit of a power boost or a bit of an option boost.
Yeah.
And they already called out the I believe it was the Myrmidon as being someone that doesn't need any goddamn disciplines.
Yeah.
Myrmidon nerf ball forever.
They are fantastic because you basically have two axes and you spin.
Yep.
And you spin and spin and kill and kill and kill. So there you go. And as you can see, too, from this video that I'm showing now, the game looks very pretty now. Even in the middle of battles, this person here is managing to get 50 frames a second as they're recording. So they've really done a ton to fix all the issues that were going on with the early builds of the engines. So
we followed this for a year, and the difference between last year and now is gigantic.
2 years, in fact. We're getting on 2 years, by the way, Bill.
Yeah.
And I got in just at the end of when it was still gray box, when everything was gray box. So this is really cool to see now. So yeah, it's fantastic to see these different ways in which the game systems are expanding throughout the game. So yeah, good job, Crowfall. And this is again, like we were talking about, this is a Kickstarter. I believe it hasn't launched yet, but I do feel that they're following through, and with the other sources of funding that they've gotten, this is going to be a game that's going to launch. It's looking at soft launch by the end of this year, and then full launch sometime in 2018. So yeah, it's I'm pretty excited. Pretty darn cool. All right, any last thoughts, Bill, before we move on?
No. Let her rip.
Okay. So before we get into our quick mentions, I want to thank Misfit Gaming from the chat room for the donation. Thank you so much. All right, let's move along. First, quick mention that we are talking about here, Tomb of Sargeras preview. That is the next raid in World of Warcraft Legion. I have not really, all my raiding experience has been looking for raid, which is not, I feel, a great example of what raiding is. Although we did LFR, was it last week or the week before in the stream? And I got to go into the new Nighthold raid, and some of the mechanics were really, really cool. So I'm glad that I got to see it.
And that's what it is. LFR is getting to see it, and if you're happy with just mediocre gear, then this is a good way to mediocre gear. It allows you to experience the story all the way, because WoW raids do deliver big chunks of the story. And yeah, so I mean, LFR is what it is. But if you're looking for the gameplay challenge and the mechanics and working as a 25-person team and that kind of thing, regular raiding is where you gotta go. It's not a replacement.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
yeah,
so
it's looking cool. What's exciting about this for you?
Oh, just it's for me. It's all the story. Like, raiding has never been a big piece for me. It's not driving. It's not getting me up in the morning. I've never really gotten too excited. To me, raiding, especially at a high level, is super stressful.
Yeah.
I would hate the notion of letting down 24 other people because I can't not stand in the poop. But, so, I don't know. Maybe that'll change. Maybe I just need to find the right raiding group. I don't know. But more than anything, I'm just excited to see the story advance. And they've got some interesting bosses here. They've got some Night Elf guardians that are gonna, I think, move along the story, and it kind of talks about how the Tomb of Sargeras was guarded and bolted down, and how it's becoming corrupt and being opened up. So these poor guardians are being corrupted by Fel, and obviously we get to fight Kil'jaeden, and they talk about it as being the final battle for Kil'jaeden.
Yeah.
Because we fought him before, I believe, in Burning Crusade.
I believe so.
Anyway, so this is the final, and
it's the final battle.
The final battle until the next final battle. But anyway, so it is driving the story, and I mean they've released some story video kind of showing that Kil'jaeden is a little bit frustrated with how the demon invasion of Azeroth is gone, and maybe he's not quite as enthralled with Sargeras' vision as he once was. But anyway, yes. So yes, I'd say it's the story advancement that I'm most interested in.
Yep, and Snowman Sam from the chat room says, quit Legion when I hit the quest restriction to normal rating. Why not let people do the quests in LFR? I agree completely. Bill, do you agree, or do you think those quests should be saved for regular raids?
Nah, do it in LFR. Such a tiny portion of the actual game population does regular raiding.
Yep.
It cuts off very interesting pieces to most of your players if you go down that road.
Yep. All right, and then last comment here from Misfit. So bored with WoW at the moment. Still have sub, but don't play. Kind of waiting for Secret World Legends to open in June. So yeah, that's kind of what we've been talking about. You know, if you follow that link to that video that I'll have it in the show notes again. I'll throw it in the in the chat room for right now. But yeah, we're kind of in the same boat, right? It's just I don't know. It's starting to get a little stale, not just because there's not enough new content, because they've done, I think, a pretty great job with this expansion of new content and stuff like that. But you know, Broken Shores was really, you know, not enough for the non-raiders, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Although, I have found that that's actually a good place to farm. Like, if you're willing to put up a movie on your other screen, Broken Shore is a decent place to farm gold. Like, if you're willing to burn an hour there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and next story. This was going to be actually part of a bigger story, but then there was some some updates. So this is a story about Wild West Online via Massively OP. There was some discussion on Reddit and some, of course, Reddit sleuthing, which has never caused any problems at all. And there was the connection to DayZ, or Infestation Stories, with the developer from those games, Sergei Titov. he does not have a lot of love for him in the gaming community. DayZ was a bomb when it launched. It was broken beyond belief, and Infestation Stories was simply a rebranding of the same broken game to try and get money through Steam again. So not a lot of people have a lot of love for Sergei Titov, but the Reddit sleuths were incorrect. The developers of Wild West Online have said that they have licensed the Nightshade engine, which is the Free Reign, Sergei's company, created, but they have no funding from Free Reign or from Sergei Titov. So there's really, the only connection is a business connection of, we have paid you money to license your engine. So there you go. If you were excited about Wild West Online and saw all this discussion flying around on Reddit, you have nothing to worry about.
Nothing.
Yay. Good to know. Good to know. And last but not least, wanted to mention, and we're not going to go through all of them. If you want to see all of these summer events for the Perfect World games, you can check out the show notes and we'll have a list there. But we do have a list of all of the summer events in the different Perfect World properties. For example, in Neverwinter, there's the Protectors Jubilee and the Summer Festival. And in Star Trek Online, there's the La Lunat Festival. And we've got a list for Champions Online, PWI, Swordsman, and Forsaken World. So if you're in any of those games and want to find out what they're doing in the summer, come check out the show notes, and you'll be able to see that there. All right, we're moving along to what are we hoping to play next week. Chat room, if you want to plop what you're hoping to play in the next week, we will mention that at the end of this segment. But before we do that, Bill, what are you hoping to play in the coming week?
The coming week, actually, I am going to be on vacation. So I am going to play Fishing Planet, except I'm going to do it in real life. I've got a fishing trip planned, and I'm going to enjoy, hopefully, some beautiful weather and sunshine, and just kind of kind of clear my gaming palette, if you will. I've actually I think I mentioned it on our previous WoW stream. I'm starting to burn out on just about everything. So I'm kind of thinking a little vacation, not going to be computing for a little while. It's going to get a nice clear palette for when I get back, and I'm going to have a whole bunch of games that are just going to be screaming at me saying, "Play me, play me," and it's going to be like new all over again.
Yeah. All right, as for me, I'm going to be playing some more ESO. I want to get through Morrowind, and I do feel if I continue based on the speed I've been going so far, I should get that done by the next show. We'll see if that happens or not. Wednesday Night WoW is tomorrow night, so we'll be playing some WoW. And finally, I got to get back into LOTRO. I've given it a little bit of a pause for the last couple of weeks, but all this talk about Chance Thomas makes me want to be back in game, so I will be doing that. It's really exciting. I can't wait. Mm-hmm. Okay, Bill, if people want to get a hold of us, how can they do that?
They can close their eyes and just wish really, really, really hard.
Oh, I think I feel something. No, I lost it.
No.
What are some other ways?
They can visit our website over at MMOReporter.com to check out the central hub of the MMO Reporter universe. They can send us an email to mmo.reporter@gmail.com. You can visit us on Facebook at facebook.com/MMO Reporter. You can tweet at either of us, either at MMO_reporter for Chris or at MMO Bill for yours truly. You can give us a call using that ancient telephonic technology using the 10-digit code 616-666-6778, or you can visit us over on YouTube, youtube.com/MMO Reporter Network. You can find us over on Patreon at patreon.com/MMO Reporter if you like what we do and want us to keep doing it, or if you're not a Patreon kind of person, head over to MMOReporter.com/support for other ways that you can help us out.
Yay! Hey, Bill, it was an absolute blast to record with you this week.
I would say, it's been superior than hanging out with a gnome.
All right, and thanks to our chat room over on YouTube and over on Twitch. You are fantastic. Thanks so much for coming and checking out what we're doing here. Hope that you like the channel, subscribe, all that, so you can see when we go live and come back again next week, because it's a lot of fun when you're here to hang out with us. So thanks for coming out, chatting with us. Don't forget to check out all the different ways that you can get a hold of us, all the different videos that we put out, and all the different shows over at MMOReporter.com. Really appreciate hanging out with all of you here on the network. Thanks for coming out. We hope to see you next week, but most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOReporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOReporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.